Hello and welcome to the Strong, Healthy, Happy podcast. Today's episode is my group coaching check-in response. So for those of you who have been listening regularly, you will know that I came to the end of my 6-week group coaching program. My group coaching program is called the Feel Great, Lose Weight Method. And it was a very successful 6 weeks of group coaching. And I talked about their final check-ins last week. And the great thing is that many of the ladies have stayed on and we are able to continue working together in a group coaching format. And I can support my clients in moving closer towards their goals, which is what I absolutely want for them. Sorry, I'm just plugging in my laptop because I can see the battery's low. So I'm going to go over and share with you how they're doing, what their wins are, and also answer their questions and talk about any challenges that they may have faced. Now, why is this relevant to you? Why do you need to listen to it? The reason why it's relevant and why it's very helpful for you to listen to is because if you are on your own weight loss journey, the struggles and difficulties that you might be facing are probably more common than you realize. And hearing my advice to my clients can be just what you need to help you get closer towards your own goal and overcome any struggles, difficulties, and also help educate you. And the questions I'm going to answer are going to be really helpful. And everything I talk about in these podcasts is going to be really helpful in your own journey. So stay listening. And if you are interested in joining my next 6-week group intake, because you have to do a 6-week group intake to then be able to continue in the group coaching format. My next one is on the 1st of July. Say that again. My next group coaching, 6-week group coaching intake is on the 1st of August. And you can start then. It is a perfect time to start because many of us are out of our usual routines during the summer. Perhaps you've got kids off school or your routine and structure just generally looks a little bit different. And having guidance and accountability in a group coaching program can save you from going on in that all or nothing approach. And you will learn through group coaching how to do the best you can, how to still make progress, even though it's the summer, and without sacrificing your enjoyment of life and enjoyment if you have a holiday booked. So it is a great time to start. In my show notes is a link to an application form, and you will be added to a waiting list. And when I release the intake, I will have an early bird offer and you will be notified of that early bird offer. So it's definitely something, if you're interested in, to fill out. So let's crack on. So this week, let's hear from some of my clients. So Julie, this is her. She has rejoined group coaching. She was previously one of my one-to-one clients and did one-to-one coaching for quite some time. She is now in the group coaching program and she is feeling so much better already. She has already noticed in just the first week, she has much more energy. Her awareness and her accountability has increased because she's part of the group coaching now, and she feels much more in control, and she's also sleeping better. So this is really, really great news, Julie, and it's only going to get better as we go more and more into coaching. Now, Julie has set herself an intention to complete 2 to 3 workouts next week. She managed to do 2 this week. Which is great, especially as she has a poorly foot at the moment. She still managed to do her workouts and she's enjoying the follow along dumbbell workouts, which she's able to do from home or from her garden, which is really great. So definitely continue with those. And I would encourage you to repeat the same workouts so that you're able to get really familiar with the workouts and be able to notice progression within the workouts, whether that progression is coming from your form, your reps, or the amount of weight that you're using to do a particular exercise. So keep consistent with those. Now, Sonia is on holiday. She's been on holiday. It feels like forever, Sonia, but I think it's only about a week, maybe a little longer. But while she's on holiday, she's making sensible food choices and she has kept her steps up. She's getting lots of steps in. She's actually doing more steps on holiday than she's able to do when she's at home and at work. And it's really great. And she's feeling the benefits of it. And what's different for Sonia on this holiday is that she hasn't self-sabotaged. This is her words. She hasn't self-sabotaged or gone silly with her food choices just for the sake of it. And often when we go on holidays, or maybe you're on an all-inclusive and you kind of feel like, well, it's there, I'm going to eat it, I've paid for it, or it's free, or it's unlimited. Often it leads to us going kind of balls to the walls because it's there and we've paid for it, when actually tuning into what it is that you actually want and what makes you feel good can change your approach and mindset around the abundance of food that you can sometimes get on holiday. And when I coach clients and when they are on holiday, going on a holiday, the general guideline I give my clients is that I want them to be fully present on their holiday. I want them to relax. I want them to have a good time. I don't want them to worry about tracking or overthinking food choices in any way, shape, or form. What I like my clients to do, which is what Sonia is demonstrating on her holiday, is I like my clients to take on holiday all the tools that they have learned through coaching and to apply it in a more intuitive way when on holiday. And the way that you would be more intuitive with your choices on holiday and what you've learned through the coaching process is by understanding how to make smarter food choices. And it's not that all your meals need to be smarter food choices, but perhaps the majority of your meals. I kind of give guideline of, I call it the 2 and 3, which is 2 of your meals a day may be smarter and 1 meal would be a more relaxed approach. Have what you want, not what's necessarily smarter. But understanding what a smarter choice is, what that looks like, how you make it, how you fill your plate and create a balanced meal is a really great thing to learn and understand. Because if you have no understanding of the values of food, what food group they belong to, which foods you should eat more of, which foods you may have to eat a bit less of, without having that knowledge, how are you going to be able to have the tools to eat in a more intuitive way and be mindful of your health, your goals, and do what makes you and know what makes you feel good? So understanding how to make smarter choices, having the understanding and knowledge to pick your indulgences. Picking your indulgences means not having everything that you might want, but perhaps having a little bit of a higher standard and choosing the indulgence that you really, really want. It might be 1 or 2 indulgences, but it's an improvement from maybe 3, 4, or 5 indulgences. And again, overindulging never leaves anyone feeling good, often leaves you feeling sluggish, overly full, sometimes a bit sick. And so really having that high standard and picking your indulgences, the ones that you want the most, is going to leave you feeling good. And again, it's another great skill that my clients are learning in the coaching process. Choosing where and how to make compromises, not sacrifices, not over restriction, compromises. So, I want the burger, but maybe I'll only have, I'll share some chips, or I'll have a salad with my burger. Knowing how and where to make those compromises. Being more tuned in to your feelings of fullness and hunger, and learning how to eat mindfully and recognize when you're reaching the point of mild fullness so that you have the ability to stop, and also allowing yourself to leave food on your plate so that you're not eating for the sake of it, overeating, or feeling that you can't leave food on your plate, that you have to finish everything, because you don't. I also want my clients to relax on sun loungers and do what one does on a holiday, but also to some extent, keep moving, keep walking, keep active. It's a great way to explore the area that you're in, and just get some movement, because we know movement makes you feel good. It increases your mood and your energy and makes you feel good. Now, Debbie has been going through a little bit of a difficult and stressful time personally. And it is, of course, going to change her priorities and values while she's going through difficult time. And if anyone listening to this has life stresses going on, first of all, recognize that it's okay for you not to be a priority sometimes, and that your health goal may not be a priority. It's not that it's not important. It just means that there might be other things going on in your life that kind of take priority. It may only be temporary, but accepting that sometimes our values may change and our own health and weight loss goals may knock down a pecking order on the list of priorities. Now, Debbie's weight loss is still a priority, but so is caring for others in her life. And she's needed the time, and she's needed to put effort into being able to do this. And so, taking the pressure off and recognizing that you can only do your best in the situation that you're in, under the circumstances that you're in, is going to help you feel less like you're failing and more like you're doing your best. And your best will always be good enough. So manage your expectations. Reduce the expectations you might be placing on yourself. I don't want you to feel like you failed, or that everything feels so overwhelming that you almost feel what's the expression, paralysis by analysis, whatever that expression is, where it's so overwhelming that you end up looking, like caught in the headlights like a rabbit and do nothing. So I would rather that you do the small things, focus on one thing at a time, and do the best that you can. Um, and also doing those small things and lowering the barriers to doing those small things, and keeping your expectations in a more manageable and realistic, at a realistic level, will also mean that you will support your own health in a much more realistic and less pressured way, so that you can then be there to be able to support people around you. So please keep that in mind. This week, hopefully, things have now calmed down for Debbie, and she has set an intention to get back to tracking her food intake consistently this week and return to exercise. And it is always a really good idea, no matter your circumstances, to set yourself up for success and set those minimum non-negotiables. And a minimum non-negotiable, so for example, for exercise, rather than just say, I'm going to exercise, set yourself a minimum non-negotiable. I'm going to do one exercise session, or whatever your minimum non-negotiable is. It needs to be absolutely achievable without too much effort, so that you set yourself up for success and you feel accomplished when you achieve it. You will then more likely think, oh, maybe I'll get a second one in. And you may do that. And therefore, you've exceeded your minimum non-negotiables. If for any reason you can't get a second one in, you've still succeeded because you hit your minimum non-negotiable. And I want you to set that non-negotiable for your nutrition targets as well. Rather than going from no tracking to 7 days tracking, can you aim for 2 or 3 days of full, accurate tracking? Think about setting those minimum non-negotiables. Rebecca's goal is weight loss, but this week she has felt hungrier, which makes sense because it has tied in with her menstrual cycle. Now, there is no set way to feel in terms of hunger or energy or strength in your menstrual cycle. All women are individual, all women are different. Some women experience it through different phases of their cycle. There's no set stage. But for Rebecca, for this past week, she has had an increased appetite. She has gone over her calories on a few of those days, and she's asking me, like, what should she do going forwards? And what I would say, first of all, Always make sure that you're creating high protein, high volume meals that you enjoy eating, that are tasty, and that are keeping you full. They need to be pleasant on the eye, and they need to taste good, and they need to hit your nutrition targets of making sure they are protein based with loads of added veg, because the protein in the veg is not only good beneficial for your health, it will keep you fuller for a whole lot longer than if those food types were in low supply. So keep that high. Make sure you're creating lots of food volume on your plate. Um, I would also include a protein snack, and always think about what you can add to your snacks. So instead of just opening up a yogurt, think about what can I add to my yogurt to make it much more filling and substantial. It might be that you make a yogurt bowl, or simply peel back the lid of your yogurt and load it with berries, whatever your preference is, heap it up. Maybe you want a sprinkling of seeds or some few crushed nuts on top, or even a couple of squares of chocolate. And all of a sudden, this little yogurt becomes this whole big substantial snack that's going to really satisfy you. And by including chocolate in it, you're less likely overeat on it, because if you were just to have two squares of chocolate on its own, it may not give you that satisfaction that you need, and it may lead to you going back for more and more and more. Whereas if you incorporate chocolate into a bigger snack, it will more likely satisfy you, because there's a lot more going on as well as enjoying some chocolate. With all that in mind, if you feel that you need to go up to your maintenance calories, which basically means that you're coming out of a deficit, you can absolutely do that, and you can decide to increase your calories by approximately 200 to 300. You could also add in, as another option, add in a portion controlled amount of the food that you're craving. But like I just said previously, be aware as to whether this will satisfy you, or will it lead to you just wanting more. It depends on you as a person, and how you're feeling, and how your other meals have looked as well. So you can add in, like a portion controlled single serving small bar of chocolate if that's what you're craving. But do be mindful about whether that's going to satisfy you enough, and whether you may be more beneficial having it as part of a bigger snack. The other option you can do is ride through the discomfort of craving whatever it is that you're craving. Sit with the craving and know that it will pass, and that if you still want it the following day, then allow yourself to have it. The chances are, when you ride through a craving, when given the option to have it the following day, the chances are that you're over it. So there is a few different approaches that you can take. Stella is also working towards her weight loss goal. She has lost weight steadily through the duration of time that we've been coaching. It's really encouraging to see. She has quoted a number that she would like to get to on her scales. And what I would say to that is, don't aim for a number. Take one day at a time, and just aim for the next kilogram or the next pound. Don't It's like looking at a mountain going, right, you need to climb to the top. How about you take that first step on the mountain, and then you take one step at a time to get higher up the mountain? Now, you are definitely a good third of the way up your mountain, Stella. So keep taking one step at a time, 1 pound at a time. And then the thing I would say about aiming for a number on the scales is, aiming for a number doesn't always bring you the fulfillment or happiness that you might think it might give you when you get there. So take one day at a time, focus on how you feel as opposed to the number on the scale. And remember, enjoy your life whilst you're working towards your weight loss goal. And sometimes aiming for the number that you've got in your mind may mean a sacrifice to the enjoyment of your life and your social activities, because it may mean that you have to put in a lot of effort to get to that number that you've highlighted. So you have to wait till you get a bit closer, or just as you go through your weight loss journey, And you may naturally find a place where you think, you know what, I'm really happy here. I'm socializing, I'm seeing friends, I'm in a body I feel more comfortable in, and I kind of like it here. So I know you have the number, park it, just it's there. We know it's there, but just take one day at a time and take on board my feedback. Now, Stella has found it challenging getting to the gym this week. She is packing up her life and moving home from uni. And this is where the follow along workouts are really beneficial. You can do them anywhere. I would encourage you to plan and schedule them into your diary. Getting them done first thing in the morning, you could do them in your PJs if you wanted to. But scheduling them in and planning in advance is going to really benefit you. And remember, you can do these workouts in your garden, they don't have to be done inside. And then when you're back home, if you're not moving around again too much, you can also look at joining a gym if that's an option for you. And you have the group coaching workouts as well. You've also mentioned that you want to eat more mindfully, and I want you to think about what this means to you. How does it look, and how are you going to achieve it? So, although you've said it, remember you need to be a little bit more specific in how you're going to get there. And this is you being accountable to yourself. And this is something I coach and help my clients with through coaching is although they're accountable to me as the coach, I want my clients to learn to be accountable to themselves because they're working towards their goals and I'm supporting them. I'm backing them all the way. I'm championing them to success. But learning to be more accountable to yourself is going to bring you long-term success, whether that's weight loss, whatever your goal is. But in order to get long-term success, you do need to be focusing on building that self-accountability. Now, I have had a question about protein, and I'm going to go over now the importance of protein, how to hit a protein target, some of which I've already touched on in this podcast. But if you're listening to this and you're not one of my clients and you've heard about protein, you know it's important, but you don't really know what to do. Protein is the most important macronutrient. A macronutrient is your food groups like carbs, fats, and protein. It is the most important one in terms of benefiting your health. Protein supports the repair and build-up of your muscle tissue, and muscle supports your long-term health, prevents illnesses, long-term diseases like cancer, diabetes, obesity. And if your goal, as well as your health, is weight loss, protein keeps you fuller for longer, so it makes sense to eat it regularly. And protein also uses more energy to digest. So you will burn calories when you're digesting protein compared to the other, you'll burn more calories compared to the other macronutrients. And for aesthetic reasons, if you want to look more toned, you need to build muscle tissue because that's what gives you the toned look. And to do that, you need to repair your muscle tissue by eating protein. That is what's needed to repair your muscle tissue. So there is every reason to be including protein in your diet. Now, the way that I would hit a protein target is by eating it 3 to 4 times a day, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack. Protein can be plant-based, it can be animal-based, and it's usually your meat, fish, dairy, or tofu, corn, and other plant-based alternatives. And if you use as a rough guide, your palm of your hand as a rough guide, a serving size will fit into your palm of your hand. And you want to be including a serving in each of your 3 meals and a snack every day. Protein is a daily target. A lot of what we do in coaching is based on averages, but protein is a daily target. So making sure you're having 3 to 4 servings of it every day will really, really benefit you. Sorry, I'm just reading my notes. It is a really good idea as well to not wing it. Planning, you hear me talk about planning, scheduling, planning, putting it in your diary a lot through my podcasts. But if you wake up in the morning and you think, oh, what am I going to have for breakfast? What protein am I going to have? It's very overwhelming. And if you haven't got the foods in your house to make those choices, it's going to be nigh on impossible. So, one of the tips I give my clients is to keep breakfast the same. Like, we tend to eat the same things anyway. Just because you're working to a weight loss goal, things don't have to change drastically. Yes, you need to eat in a calorie deficit, but if you like eggs for breakfast, you can make that work, and you can put another protein source along with your eggs to increase the protein serving in your breakfast. Or if you like a cereal breakfast, think about, because your milk is not going to be high enough protein on its own in the serving size that you have in a bowl of cereal, but perhaps you could have some yogurt either dolloped on top or enjoyed on the side with some fruit. But keeping your breakfast consistent will take the thought process away of what you're having each day. And I would recommend the same for lunch. Have like a maximum of 3 different lunch options and just rotate between them. And then when you do your grocery shopping, you will have the foods in your house to keep repeating that meal. It might be that you batch cook, some chicken breasts that you can then have in a salad, in a sandwich, a wrap, etc. for lunch each day. And it's done, it's cooked, it's there, and you don't have to think too much. You can have more flexibility at dinner if you've got a family and you want to eat as part of a family. Whatever the family are having, make sure there's protein in it, spag bowl, chicken curry, whatever your staples are with your family, you can absolutely enjoy them with your family. Keep them protein based. And when it comes to adding the carbs, so for example, spag bowl, you will reduce your portion of spaghetti and increase alongside it the salad or the veg, so that you are not having less on your plate. You're just reducing your carbs and increasing your vegetables. But the main element of the meal, the bolognese, is very high in protein. And if your goal is fat loss, it's a very good idea to use a 5% or a leaner meat source. So that's protein. And if you are tracking, to my clients, if you're tracking, remember to track in advance. Again, winging it. You get to the end of the day, it's 9 o'clock, and you're like, oh, I'm nowhere near my protein target. It's like 9 o'clock at night. Well, it's a bit late. So plan in advance. And again, this is where keeping your meals consistent for breakfast and lunch make your life really easy. Couple of questions. Should you record your walk on the coaching app? So your steps are integrated to the coaching app. I can see your steps. You don't need to specifically track your walks. I'm looking at your daily steps. But if you like to track your walks, then absolutely track them. And if you're doing the follow along workouts, I tried to get them uploaded to the coaching app. It became a very lengthy task that I ended up having to abort, and they are now uploaded to YouTube with a link. But I am going to attempt to get them back on to the coaching app. But in the meantime, you can track those workouts by clicking the plus button on the coaching app, select activity, and you can select fitness class, and it will track that workout. Or you can track it as general, whatever your preference is. And then to end this week's podcast, some feedback from one of my group coaching ladies. I absolutely love being part of the group coaching, having this focus. I feel so much more positive, and being part of something like this is so good for my mental health, and I love it! Exclamation mark 4 times. I am so proud of myself this afternoon. I completed my workout, and then I went and did a walk. I've exceeded my step target, and I'm feeling great. And it's feedback like this that highlights the benefits of group coaching, that yes, we're working towards individual goals, but improving your health and losing weight is much more than just losing weight. It's everything that you gain alongside losing weight. So if you are thinking about joining the next group coaching intake, please fill out the application form linked in the show notes to this podcast episode. I hope you found that helpful. A huge well done to my lovely clients. I am on holiday for a couple of weeks. I will be active in the community chat group. I will be keeping an eye on you all, and you can obviously support each other within that group. You don't need me to instigate conversation or share struggles or celebrate wins. You can do that all on your own, and I will be checking in throughout my holiday. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch up with you soon.